Check it out, guys. I'm back with my video response to episode 253. And a very fine episode, a nice surprise from Pipes and PT, back to the old school. Just chatting about music, and that was really, I guess, what got people into the Bliss. And yeah, it was kind of refreshing to hear that. You know, you guys have come a long way from just chatting about random topics that just come to your head at the time, and going to a more formatted show. And now with Pappy up as a host, it's really evolved. But it was kind of nice to go back to the, I guess it's kind of a blast from the past, and really go back to the roots of Six String Bliss. So that's cool. So I found some acoustic foam. I can't even remember why I got this, but I'm going to try to stop the echo with my microphones up here and place it on top of the webcam, because this Logitech webcam does not work with my audio interface, or any of them for that matter. So anyway, let's talk about the eye stubble. Interesting, Pipes. And this is what I guess the Bliss was back then. You know, you wouldn't just talk about guitars, you'd talk about your days, your weeks, whatever happened. I remember a story when Pipes was talking about how you're on vacation with your family and you thought you lost your son, so you're in some type of low river or small rapids or something like that, and you were walking barefoot through them and cut up your feet on the family vacation. You know, funny stories like that that really help us understand the personality of our hosts, and it really makes you connect well with them. You know, it's like when they're talking on the podcast, they're talking to you as the individual, as the listener, rather than just, you know, having a conversation. So those little types of things I actually really enjoy in Bliss episodes. So yeah, now, every now and then I think we should always have like a little story about the host, you know, what happened in their lives and that sort of thing. You know, keep it sort of yeah, a friendly chat between friends, and that's what really drew us all to the Bliss to begin with. So bringing back some of the things of the past really keeps some of the hardcore listeners their attention going, and keeps them interested, of course, but always keeps me interested. Kind of like a song. When you go to write a song and you have one riff, and then you go into a different part of the song, whether it's the chorus, the middle eight, whatever, you've got another interlude section, or you're building up. It's good to bring things back into that song towards parts of the middle to keep familiarity, can't even say it. So yeah, same sort of thing, I guess, with podcasting, the Bliss. So cool. Anyway, the eye stubble. I'm looking at a picture of this thing right now, and I think it's a pretty good idea. If you want to keep that 5 o'clock shadow. Sadly enough, I cannot grow facial hair. Really, I've got actually just stubble. Just little patches of stubble everywhere, and a really thin goatee. That's it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to grow facial hair. But if I ever do, I'll be sure to purchase the eye stubble. And I like the website. It's just got this like random sort of sexy office chick just standing there like this. Why not buy the eye stubble? Why not? Anyway, let's get to the next story. The Lost Blue Chips pick. That is a pretty interesting story, PT. And for a $35 pick, that might be a little upset if you lost that. Looking at the picks, I'm sure everyone does it. Every time you go to the music store, you buy a pick. Why not? They're $1. Well, they're $1 for me in Australia. Some of them are $2 or $2.50. It's a bit ridiculous. But every time I went there, and I've got hundreds of picks. Probably maybe not 100, maybe 100 actually. And that's $100. $100. And you know what? All I use now are Jazz 3s. Even playing acoustic guitar, I use a Jazz 3. Trying out the Jazz 3 carbon fiber. Thank you from Larry Ashbrook on the forum, sent that to me. Got the red carbon fiber. And going to try out the stubby, tiny, whatever it is. All from Dunlop, of course. But yeah, I only really play, I play one type of pick. So if you find a nice pick like a Blue Chips pick for $35, and that's the only pick you play, then why the hell not? Why not purchase it? You know? Because you might lose it in the toilet. That's why you don't purchase it. But I guess that was really nice of that guy to take the time strangely enough, to look it up. I mean, shouldn't he be doing his job that he's employed for, maybe. Wish I had time to run around the office and help people out. So, like, it is odd, isn't it? But it was a really nice gesture of that guy to go to the trouble to look it up, to find out, hey, and he obviously doesn't play guitar because he asked you, do you pick guitar? Do you pick guitar? And in the end of the day, you got it back, PT. So that was quite interesting and very, I guess you call it a stroke of luck. Pretty cool. Pipes in San Diego. Visiting Adam Grimm of Satellite Amps. That would have been a really, really cool, really awesome adventure there. And you're going to go back, which is really, really cool. I could only imagine walking into a room filled with amplifiers. I mean, you get aroused anyway when you go to the music store and you go into their amp room. And let's be honest. Well, in Australia, unless you go to the big music stores, they kind of got shit amps in their amp rooms. There's a lot of Line 6 Spiders. There's a lot of Vox, what are they called, Valvetronics. There's a lot of cheap crap. You know, there aren't a lot of boutique quality valve amps. Like, yeah, there are Marshalls everywhere and Fenders and that sort of thing, but you don't get any of the big names, Dr. Z's or anything like that, sort of boutique amps. You rarely find Bogners and things. I mean, I've never seen Soldano amps ever in a music store here in Australia. I'm sure there are some out there with them, but they're some of the amps that I would really like to try out. So last time I went to an amp room, I tried the Vox Night Train, and people love it, but I hate that thing. I thought it was terrible. Maybe I didn't tweak it properly, but did not like that amp. That's just my opinion. Could be someone else's favorite amplifier. But yeah, walking into, you know, basically a museum of amplifiers, and they say, hey, you don't have to stay 6 feet back. Don't go past the road. Play them all. You know, crank it up. That would be awesome, Pipe. So the next time you do go down there, I'm very interested to hear your the story and what you really do plug into. Whether you just go for a couple of your favorites or you just go nuts and try to plug into everything. So yeah, I think that's just a fabulous experience. Let's go and what's next. The Guitar Note publication. Okay, I went onto the website. Now, it was on my phone, on my old iPhone, and I couldn't find out how to subscribe or how to pay the $15. So if someone could please direct me to that, it would be much appreciated because I will spend $15 to get 4 issues of the Guitar Note. Sounds like everyone involved is putting a lot of effort into it, and Pipes is actually writing as well. Very interesting, well, about Adam and Satellite Amps. I'm really interested to read that. PT on your article, The Dabbler, and as someone said, Steve Benford's going to be on there as well, and I think it's a really, really cool idea. I'm wondering what type of format you guys are going to put it out in. Is it just going to be like a PDF with links, or is it actually going to be compatible with e-readers? If it is compatible with an iPad, I may actually go out and purchase an iPad. To me, an iPad is not a necessity, it's just another toy, which is why I haven't purchased one. I have a MacBook Pro, but that's different. It's a computer I can do a lot more on. I have been very tempted to buy an iPad because I've seen how people are using them now for like mobile recording and effects, basically using them as the processors for their effects, and a small type of virtual guitar rig, which is really, really interesting to me. Larry Ashbrook put something on the forum earlier, and there's also a pedal from Digitech, like a big multi-effects thing with no effects in it. You need an iPad. You slide the iPad in there, pump up the settings or whatever, or the program, the app, whatever you call it, and then you control all your pedals from there, virtually, of course, used with the normal amplifier. Seeing that happen and how far this technology can go, that's really what gets me into it. But the breaking point will be the Guitar Note. If it is available on that, if I have the funds, I will purchase an iPad. I'll probably hate myself for doing it, but at least I'll be able to enjoy reading the virtual magazine like a magazine, as opposed to reading a normal magazine. So, 2011, I guess you could say, isn't it? Anyway, looking forward to that PT, and everyone else involved, really looking forward to it. NAMM 2012. I tend to not get too excited about NAMM because, well, it's in the other country and that sort of thing. But I always go onto Premier Guitar Magazine's website because they seem to have this massive coverage of NAMM videos, articles and articles upon articles. Unlike Guitar World, where it depends on who pays the most to get stuff published in that magazine anymore. But I still buy the buyer's guide for Guitar World. That's the only one I buy anymore. So yeah, ukuleles, interesting. I actually walked into a music store the other day just to buy some strings because I have a rubbish acoustic guitar. I just got some light gauge strings. I mean, like extra light. I got 10 to 50s to put on there. It just doesn't seem to be strong enough to handle regular gauge acoustic strings for some reason. It's an Ibanez Talman. I do not recommend it. I was young, dumb, bought my first acoustic guitar. Actually, technically my second. I had an Ovation before that. I had a crack in the bridge. But, yeah, now I want a new one. And if I do buy a new acoustic guitar, I like black guitars. End of story. I like black clothes. I like black everything. However, I played a Cole Clark branded acoustic guitar, Australian brand. It's one of the best guitars or acoustics I've ever played. Really easy to play. Not so comfortable because it had a big body, but I guess you get a more shallow body acoustics, which is what I like. And it's just, the sound was amazing. They're all made with sort of unfinished woods. And I love it. Anyone out there, check out Cole Clark guitars, Australian made guitars, or Maton guitars. They're really nice. I guess the way I see it, Maton is like Australia's version of Taylor guitars. You know, they've got a lot of very traditional types of guitars out of nice natural woods, and they just play so well, so nice. They're not that cheap, but they're a really nice guitar. I really do enjoy them. So anyway, back to I'm just going straight off the topic. I went to the music store, and the first thing seriously, they had this huge stand of about 20 ukuleles on there. That's all I saw. I was like, is this a ukulele shop or something? What's going on? As soon as you walk in the door, that's all you see. So you have to walk right behind this ukulele, this monster wall of ukuleles, to get to the acoustic guitars, and walk behind those to get to electric guitars. So yeah, it was interesting, and that just clicked to me when I heard about NAMM show with ukuleles, or ukulele, however you pronounce it. That was the main thing that people were introducing at this 2012 NAMM show. Is quite shocking to see. Walk into a guitar shop and just see ukuleles. So yeah, I mean, I've never actually really played a uke. I would like one. I want an electric one, if they exist, or at least one with a piezo pickup in it or something like that. And I'm going to try to put through some effects. I did see that brand Cole Clark ukulele. It was $1,200. It had a lot of new technology in it though. It was a baritone ukulele, I believe it was, and so it has electronics in it, so you can put it into an amplifier. However, to charge it, all you do is you put like a 9-volt adapter into the actual guitar. There's a little plug. Leave it there. It was something like 2 minutes. Take it out, and you get hours of playtime with hours of charge. Amazing. I could have read that wrong, but I guess with that type of technology, you sort of say, okay, it's made out of exotic wood. It's a well-crafted instrument. It's got the latest technology. $1,000, fair enough. So, what is next? Although, looking at some of these electric guitars I've got around here, surely making a ukulele would be a little bit more of a simpler task than making a big acoustic or a big electric. Anyway, what is next here? Fender put out the Strat. As for saying, I always find it funny. Fender, they really stick to their roots, which is kind of admirable. That the company's like, we're not changing. This is what we do. We make guitars from the 50s, 60s. That's it. Sorry. What do we got this year? We got the Strat. We got the Telly. What's new? Nothing visually. Things you can't see that are new. I mean, that's a good one. I remember listening to, it was another podcast. Sorry guys, where I think it was Fender or something. They had like a Maybe it was on the Bliss, I don't know, it was a long time ago. Anyway, they had the spokesperson for Fender, and he got up there and talked about this new, like, I'm not sure like what type of metal they were made, but the saddles on a Strat, the type of aluminium or something saddles, and why they're better, and that's what the latest breakthrough was with that year's NAMM show of the Strat. But that was pretty much the only change, I think. No, slightly different type of metals. Now I know they make a difference. I know they do. But let's be honest, they only really make a difference when your amp's really, really cranked up. If you're just at home, all that sort of stuff to me, well, to my ears, you know what? I'm not deaf. I can hear everything. To my ears, it doesn't make that much of a difference to say, yes, I'll spend the extra $300 to get that guitar because it has different saddles. Now that doesn't really, because when you're buying a professional level guitar anyway, they're all made quite well. They're all made pretty good. It's not like you're buying a cheap piece of crap, is it? Yeah. So, but yeah, they constantly bring it out. They're just sticking with their guns. They're not going to change. I like Fender guitars, but I would probably never buy a Fender branded guitar. Actually, no, I lie. I would buy one. The only Fender branded guitar that I would buy is a Jim Root Telecaster. I love that guitar. I think it is awesome. I love Tellys though. I really love Tellys. But after having a Benford custom, it's pretty hard to just say to go to an actual Fender after you have yourself a custom made guitar. But not just that, it's just so much better. So anyway, I had a Fender Telly. I had a Mexican one. It was alright. I was going to buy a USA made Telly, waiting for the new ones to come out, of course, at the New Hampshire. But anyway, that's all in the past now. So yeah, interesting. Thank you, Fender. But the one thing that sticks out in my mind, because there are heaps of things that came out in NAMM, the one thing that really sticks out in my mind that I saw J-Man mentioned on the forum and a bunch of other guys are the Marshall 1 watt series valve amplifiers. They, I just think that's a phenomenal idea that they put out. It's a shame that they're a limited edition because that means they're going to be stupidly expensive. I would really like to get my hands on the JVM era, the latest ones with the 1 watt, which apparently they said, I saw a video, they have an effects loop as well, foot pedal channel switching and all that sort of thing. Why you need that in a 1 watt amp, I have no idea. However, the effects loop I agree, but the channel switching, yeah, well, it's a 1 watt amp. But these days, if you mic it up, I guess, why can't you take it to a gig? I do like the fact you can turn them down to 1/10 of a watt, or minimal as well, and still crank it up. I'm really interested to know the technology behind how they do that, because they sound really good, and from what I've heard, the errors that they're supposed to be, they sound really similar to the amps that they actually are meant to be, but at a 1 watt stage. So if they do come to Australia, which a handful of them probably will, and they'll be sold before you can even blink an eye by all the people that already work at music stores, I'll try to get my hands on one if it's under about $1,000. But more than that, I just don't think it's worth it unless you have money to burn. Though it is a great idea because people want small watt amps. That's why I bought this thing behind me. I like the sound of British. I like British sort of sounds. EL34 power tube sounds. I like British crunch. I like it way more than the American gain tones. And so when someone says, you know, I really wish I could get that cranked sound at home, what are they talking about most of the time? They're talking about Marshall amps. That's what they're really talking about. They're talking about a Marshall amplification. So to get a 1 watt amp, I think is just such an awesome idea. Really clever marketing idea from Marshall to do that, and I honestly think people are going to get absolutely nuts over it. I mean, I am, but I've heard they're going to be expensive. It's very upsetting. However, yeah, that's one thing that sticks in my mind. I'd really like one, and the fact that you can go down to, you know, minimal wattage or less than a watt. I mean, that's awesome. What else have we got on my little listy here? PT, making a pedal. Good for you, dude. and you drip solder on your wedding ring. But like Pipe said, at least it's on your wedding ring and not on your fingers. When I first started making pedals, you should have seen the crap that I churned out. It was absolutely shocking. I mean, well, not that it hasn't changed all that much today, but geez, and the solder, oh, the amounts of solder I used to solder things to, I used to just keep going. The big bubbles of solder on all my joints and that sort of thing. And then at the end, the tip of the soldering iron, I'd have it dripping off. And I think I've still got some scars. Actually, that might be one. No, it's not from a fist fight. But it's from solder. If anyone asks, I was in a brawl in the pub. So yeah, I've still got scars on my hands from when the solder dripped on my skin and burnt. It really, really burns. The other thing with soldering that you've got to be careful of is, geez, I don't even know what stuff's really made out of. I think it's the flux on there that's inside the solder itself. It has a tendency to jump. It'll be clear and jump. And when it jumps, it's bloody hot, so don't get your head really close there, otherwise it might go on your eyes. And I guess you wear glasses, so you're kind of protected. So I always try to wear glasses when I solder. You know, these are good. 3D glasses from the cinemas. There you go. Real 3D, apparently. I always try to protect my eyes with something like this. Something cheap that you haven't really spent more money on. You know, these cost an extra $2 at the cinema. So, but yeah, dude, I think Dave Mack put on the forum that the melting point of gold is way, way up there compared to solder. So you probably will be safe, but at the end of the day, this is your wedding ring. It's not like it's just a ring. So maybe you should spend the 20 bucks and go to a jeweler. And like Pipe said, it seems as though jewelers would have some strange concoction, potion. I envision you go into the jeweler and they take it out the back where no one's allowed to go. There's some spiral stairs where they slowly walk down, holding this ring in a silk pillow, small pillow, made for rings. They then take it to an old wench, witch, whatever you want to call her. She stands there with a cauldron, flames roaring up from below. As she takes the ring, she casts a spell. The ring then levitates, falls into the cauldron of chemicals, potions, and magic. She then casts another spell where the ring rises from the cauldron, only to be reborn as if it was a new ring. That, I believe, is how they get those types of stains off jewellery. And for $20, think about it. They've got their own wench, witch, whatever. Can't beat it. Can't beat that type of value. Doug Darrell put down songs. That was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. And to be honest, I didn't really know many of the songs at all. But listening to it on the train on the way to work, cracking up laughing. Because until someone really points it out, you don't really think that deep into a lot of music, especially us as guitar players. We're not vocalists. No, I'm certainly not a vocalist. So to really look into the lyrics of songs and that sort of thing is something that you don't often do. I mean, you feel music, but like I say, as a guitarist, as an instrumentalist, we don't really do that as well. We try to get more emotions with what we're playing out of our chosen instrument, the guitar. And with those songs that Doug put up, of course, the accompaniment goes well with the lyrics, but really listening to those lyrics and then knowing what they were actually about just makes the song so much more powerful. So yeah, thank you very much, Doug, for that segment. Much enjoyed. And the outro tracks. Well, I thought they were cool tracks by Doug and Clint. It's a shame they didn't make the Guilty Pleasures album. It is a real shame. I have to admit, I had a couple of other projects that I wanted to do to make that album, but at that point in my life, I was just way too busy and swamped with everything else I had. I was lucky to do my own track, really. So But it was kudos to you guys for being persistent and still producing the track even after the deadline had gone and the album was released. I really enjoyed and really like it. Clint's voice is getting much better, compared to when I listened to you years ago on the Bliss albums. Really defined, and I really like it. And Doug, well, dude, you always bring something very interesting, individual, and out there. Out there. Oh, don't want to go back too far. I'm not wearing any panties. So, yeah, cool tracks, guys. Well, anyway, I'm going to get out of here. So, can't wait for the next episode, and bliss on.